And welcome to another edition of Right on Rangers Live. Coming at you, top of the eighth inning. Not going the way we'd like it to right now. Rangers down 5-0 to the Guardians. We're going to bring this one home. Crivello on the mound right now for the Rangers. Promptly gives up a base knock to Stephen Kwan. Guardians are in business here in the eighth inning. A lot to talk through tonight. We'll turn down the volume a little bit on this one. It's going to take some work. We'll say that. We'll put it nicely. It's going to take some work for the Rangers to get back into this one, man. 3-hit night. Gotta love it. 3-hit evening for the Rangers. Hello. Just, you know what? You try to get to 500. Am I right? You just try to get to 500. And it's just somehow an impossible feat for the Rangers when they get one game under. 31-32. This happened, a couple of nights ago? There's something about this game to get even at 500, man. They just cannot figure it out as of late. Too bad. No more Fox games? Yeah, that's an idea. It seems like the Rangers, every time we get on national TV, man, this is how it goes. Every time we get on national TV. Not a lot to say. The Rangers have not looked good, really, in all facets of the game. The pitching, obviously, from Jack Leiter, not ideal. He started out really well. I mean, look, when you get through the first inning clean, unscathed, like Jack did tonight, I tweeted this out. You really feel pretty confident that he's going to have a pretty solid night, especially when he's pitching at home. It's the place where Jack Leiter and a lot of the young pitchers have had a ton of success, man. So for me, when he got through that first, I really thought good things were coming this evening. I'll say this. I know that there's a lot of Rangers fans that are a lot more fed up with Jack Leiter than I am. And look, I've had my moments with Leiter. Crivello, he is going to get hit with the ball. He's probably going to have to come out of this game, it looks like. Crivello, comebacker. Looks like he is going to have to come out of this game, man. He is having some tough luck with injuries this year, is Luis Crivello. And Gavin Collier, I guess, is going to be up a little bit sooner, back a little sooner than what we expected. Hopefully this isn't anything too bad for Crivello. So he gets hit with the comebacker, picks it up, bad throw to first base, took Berger off the bag. Berg tried to get the tag, didn't get it, so it's going to be first and second. Nobody out, but the bigger concern here is Crivello. Looks like he got hit in the back of the leg. Nevertheless, you get hit in the right spot. Oof. All right, so look, while they're figuring out the Crivello stuff, I was talking about Leiter, and my main thing with Lights, I know that there's some people really frustrated with the guy. I'll say this. When you are constantly pitching behind an offense that is not good. This offense is not good. We talked about this last night. I know that hurts some people's feelings when I say that out loud. It's not a good offense. At best, I'll give you it's an average offense. Most nights it feels below average. When you're constantly pitching behind a below average offense, it is a different style of pitching, man. You are not relaxed up there. You are in the back of your mind. I don't care what Jack Leiter says. Everybody's just going to give you the coach speak company line, man. But when you know that your offense isn't a juggernaut, you do feel very, very much so the pressure of not being the one that loses the game for the team, of not being the guy that gives up the losing runs. For me, it's clear that Jack Leiter got a little bit in his head in that fifth inning, right? In that 4-spot fifth inning, Jack gets in his head. I can't help but wonder, though, if the way the offense plays behind him most of the time isn't a fairly large contributor here. As Robbie Ahlstrom comes in the game, he's going to be replacing Luis Crivello, who was hit with the comebacker. Prayers up for Crivello. Hopefully he will not have to do any kind of injury stint, but I think Gavin Collier is going to be on his way back if that is the case. My goodness. Yeah, this is another thing. It's actually a really good point that I thought about after inning number 2. Jack Leiter was getting extremely short rest, man. Just extremely short rest in between innings. You look at some of the different innings, right? You look at what the Rangers did. Bottom of the first inning, Jock 2 pitches, Corey 1 pitch, Josh Jung 3 pitches. I mean, you're talking about a 6-pitch inning in the bottom of the first. So Jack Leiter had to labor a little bit in the first, but still gets out of the inning unscathed. I think he threw 20-ish pitches or so in the first inning. And then the Rangers in the bottom of the first, they give you a 6-pitch bottom half. Jack gets to rest for 6 pitches. And then you're back out there. Bottom of the second, Nimmo 4 pitches. Wyatt 2 pitches. Duran 5 pitches. So a little bit better, an 11-pitch second. Bottom of the third, 2 pitches. 7 pitches. 10 pitches. I mean, look, 10 pitch, 11 pitch, 6 pitch. These are not long innings. And by the way, the Rangers went 1, 2, 3. Actually, technically not in the bottom of the first, right? Because Josh Jung grounds into the double play. But Bibee faced the minimum in the bottom of the first. He faced the minimum in the bottom of the second. He faced the minimum in the bottom of the third. It wasn't until the 4th inning that the Rangers forced Tanner Bibee to face more than 3 batters. I mean, that is brutal if you're a starting pitcher. So, look, I know this is going to sound like coping for Jack Leiter, who has to be a little bit more consistent, right? Lights at this point on the year. You look at the ERA from him, which is not everything, but we're sitting at a 4.69 ERA at the moment for Lights. And I know ERA is not everything, but it is something. 4.69 ERA. You've got to be better. You've got to be more consistent. This much is most certainly true. So let's just say this clearly, loudly. This is a disappointing start for Lights. But I do think about some of the extraneous factors, the ones we're talking about right now. You got short innings of rest for Leiter. 6 pitches, 10 pitches, 11 pitches, and he's right back out there. You got Tanner Bibee, by the way, chilling while his team makes Jack Leiter work. And then you've also got the added pressure of this is a below-average offense. And you know that as a pitcher, you have to be that much more fine. You have to be that much more in control. Let's go to a positive, though. Cal freaking Quantrill. Cal Quantrill. Am I right? Look at the ERA for this dude. 2.19? Cal Quantrill has a 2.19 ERA, most underrated Ranger on the roster right now. Most underrated, underappreciated player at this point on the roster. Cal Quantrill, baby. Maybe put this guy in the rotation. I'm not kidding. Maybe get this guy in the rotation. 2.19 ERA? I mean, look, if you're looking for positives tonight, I know some people give me a hard time for being too negative. Loud and clear, I posted about this right before I got on the live. Cal Quantrill has been incredible. He's been incredible. I've loved everything from him since he came back from the WBC, man. It was a rough start to spring training. He has been nailed since coming back from the WBC. Robbie Ahlstrom in a little bit of trouble here, obviously, with the mess that Curvelo had created. Look, even that comebacker. Foul ball here. I thought Robbie had a strikeout. Even that comebacker was pretty smoked. Curvelo just not sharp coming in. Hope he's okay. Junis, Cal, Latz. I think Latz is finally getting some recognition, Matt. Junis, I could go with you on. I think Latz is definitely getting a little bit of love now in the media, at least the local media. I mean, Latz is not going to get a whole lot nationally, but local media, I do think, is appreciating Latz a little bit more. I know they wrote an article about him. Dallas Morning News did an article on Latz last night, I believe. So for me, it's definitely at this point, I mean, probably between Junis and Quantrill. And I'm just going to give Cal a little bit more love being in the role that he's in right now. It's not a very sexy role. It's not a very lovable role. He's mop-up guy, right? He's mop-up duty. He's long man. He's the guy that you got to have when there's a short outing or when the game is far out of reach. And look, he has fulfilled his role beautifully. Beautifully. Beer tips, man. Took me a while, man, but I don't do anything crazy. Nothing crazy. I appreciate the love, man. Nothing wild, Jordan. Seriously. I mean, look, just keep on trying and trying and trying. That's pretty awesome, though. I appreciate it. Hunter, appreciate the follow, man. At least you guys have some hope, unlike the Tigers. Yeah, Ari, appreciate the comment. Yeah, I think the Tigers actually got a pretty good squad, but they have dug a hole for themselves big time. Let's keep on going here. Yeah, I think that's a good comp. Cal, Quantrill, kind of like Patrick Corbin. Actually, an upgraded Corbin. Corbin, look, he definitely was an innings eater, and I thought for a number 5 starter, very solid. But look, the numbers at the end were not anything great. I mean, Cal is 2.19 ERA, 118 WHIP. I mean, this guy is doing pretty phenomenally at this point. Yeah, Jack definitely was frustrated out there. I think there's a lot of things that go into that, you know. Higgy, of course, with the error. Looks like they are going to get a run home here, unfortunately. Bazana just able to beat it out, man. That's too bad. See if Skip wants to challenge it. Nope, they're going to let that roll. Would like to see a replay on that. Just, felt like that ball was smoked, man. How do you not turn that? Felt like that ball was smoked. Duran just had to run a little ways. That is almost ridiculous how hard that ball was hit that they couldn't turn to. I know Bazana can run well, man. Looks like Duran just had a long way to go to get over to that base. Corey was going the other way. Couldn't really take it himself. Tough there, but that's going to get credited to Curvelo here. This is a good matchup here. We got Alstrom versus Ramirez. Probably the best hitter that Alstrom has faced. Comes high and tight to Ramirez to start things off. See how that goes for him. Comes up high again. As I was saying with Leiter, going off Natalie's comment, you know, the errant throw from Higashioka on the Ramirez steal attempt felt like maybe the wheels kind of started falling off there. Ramirez is going to smoke one. Oh my goodness, that ball was torched right at Corey Seager, though. Thank goodness. Robbie Alstrom, look, you would have loved for him to get out of this unscathed, but without giving up any runs. I know Alstrom technically doesn't give up any earned runs here. Looks like they're not even going to give an earned run to Curvelo. So there's that. There you go. Let me go to this one, G-Man. I know you've been patient. Look, I posted about this during the game today. The question is, why is a struggling Nimmo batting cleanup? And Brandon Nimmo sitting at about a $185 over his last 30 games. Now, I had a couple of people pop back very quickly that his advanced stats page, the Baseball Savant page, is looking mighty red, and I did confirm it is. It's looking very good right now. The Baseball Savant page, there's a lot of red for Brandon Nimmo. So you definitely could take the opinion that he's getting unlucky right now. He's hitting the ball hard. The line drive numbers are kind of middle of the pack, but he's hitting the ball hard. His expected batting average, expected WOBA, expected slugging, all the expected stats, very, very elite. So, I mean, you can make an argument he's getting unlucky. I will say this, though, because I've said this with other players, and I want to be consistent. I'm not a big fan of StatCast coping. Like, I will offer it up as a small consolation. A small consolation. But you're not going to hear me arguing for a player and backing it up with StatCast. If a guy is hitting a $185 over the last month, you know, I'm sorry. And I love Brandon Nimmo, but I'm sorry. I'm not going to sit there and genuinely try and argue with the StatCast page as my backup that it's not that bad. You're hitting a $185 over your last 30 ball games. That's not just a bad stretch, man. That's a slump. It's a slump. And we love Nims, right? We love Nims here at Right on Rangers. I know a lot of y'all love Brandon Nimmo. It's hard on social media. Some people get in their feelings way too quickly. But we got to post the truth, man. And the truth is Brandon Nimmo's been bad over his last 30 games. Has he done some things well out in the outfield? Does he still walk from time to time? Yeah, he does. But I think right now, Brandon Nimmo, ever since getting moved out of the leadoff spot, really has not quite been the same player. And so another part of my tweet was, Jock, the ascension of Jock Peterson. Unfortunately, the cost appears to be Brandon Nimmo's production. I think those are directly correlated. And Brandon Nimmo has said in interviews, he said in different conversations that when you're hitting leadoff versus hitting in the 4 spot or the 5 spot, it's a much different approach. And I feel like you connect all the dots here. He probably is mixing up the approach a little bit, not hitting leadoff. And you wonder if that does have a negative effect. In fact, I've concluded that it has. I think that it's hard to argue against the fact that it has had a negative effect on him. I hope that he comes out of it. I hope that this is something that we're going to be laughing about in a week because Nimmo is on an all-time heater, but we definitely need to be fair. And look, the numbers are what they are. I mean, don't let him hurt your feelings, right? He's last 30 games a $185. It's unfortunate. The Rangers will be much better off when Brandon Nimmo is hitting well, that's for sure. We keep going. Technically, he did get the ground ball he needed. That is true. Talking about Robbie Alstrom, absolutely. Running out of patience for Evan Carter. Yeah, I mean, look, Osuna tonight, 1 for 3 with a walk and an RBI at Round Rock, his first game. So, yeah, I mean, do the Rangers need a guy like that? Do we need a guy that gets on base a couple different times a game, drives in a run here or there? Does it sound like that might be a player that the Rangers need? Just throwing that out there, right? Alejandro Osuna, man. Highest on-base percentage on the team, demoted to AAA Round Rock. I do not know a lot of organizations that are pulling that move. There's no talking out of it. I know Evan Grant posted an article and was basically trying to frame the move positively. There's no way to frame that positively. Osuna is your best on-base guy. What a play by Stephen Kwan, by the way. That is Kwan out there in left field, isn't it? What a play by Kwan, man. Sinking line drive there. That is a great that's a great play. Great catch. It's just one of those nights for Texas, man. You had the Seager line drive double play the inning before, and now you have the Kwan phenomenal play here. It's 6-0. Rangers, I mean, look, they like to put up fight at the end of games, but it's going to be tough. Yeah, for me, Evan Carter, I am running out of patience. There's no amount of great defense from Evan. Like, you guys remember the play yesterday where Evan comes in, he runs in, and he makes the catch. I had people, salivating over that play on my timeline. Where Evans running in on a pop-up that was kind of in no man's land. I mean, didn't dive, just, got to the ball. It's a nice play, don't get me wrong, but, I mean, I just don't understand the apologists on Evan that are just salivating over the defense. That is just not the biggest need right now. We are not scoring any runs tonight. The biggest need is offense. I will take a slightly worse defender in center field to get rid of the black hole that is Evan Carter at the moment in the lineup. And I just wish people would stop treating the Evan Carter demotion talk like it's a death sentence for Evan. Just send him down and get him right over the next 2 or 3 weeks. We're not saying he needs to stay down there forever. Can we go ahead and just get him right? That, to me, is more worth it than 2 weeks of really good defense from Evan out in center field. Who cares? Get him right down at AAA. Bring him back. No big deal. Yeah, I definitely know that the front office and I know that the manager do appreciate StatCast. I'm not a big StatCast guy as the whole argument. It's a part of the argument. You got to be productive, man. You have to produce. I'm sorry, you can be in the 90th percentile in exit velocity. If you're hitting a buck 85 over your last 30, that's not good enough. Mm. Yeah, I know that some people are really sensitive about Evan. I like Evan. Evan is a fan favorite. I mean that is what we're working with. I really want to submit, and I know that I'm still not going to get people that agree with me, but I think there's a lot of people thinking about Evan with their heart instead of their head, man. There's a lot of people thinking about Carter with their heart instead of their brain. If you look at everything that Evan's doing this year, yeah, the defense is great. I think he's stolen 5 or 6 bases. It's not even like he's a stolen base machine, which is wild to me with how fast he is. But you just have a lot of emotion with Evan Carter for what he did for the franchise in 2023. I get it. But look, we've run out of 2023 positive vibes. It's always going to be a thing that we all look back on with so many fond memories. But in terms of like current players and the equity that you built up from 2023, I mean that's over, especially for a player like Carter that has not had a great season since the 2023 championship. I mean, it's not like this is 1 year removed. We're in 2026 now, man. We are 2.5 years removed from that. And so for me, again, I don't think there's anything wrong with sending Evan down for a couple of weeks. If you're that opposed to 2 or 3 weeks of demoting Evan Carter, again, I would have to say very clearly, you're thinking with your heart instead of your head. There's nothing wrong with sending Evan down for a few weeks. And you know what? If Evan gets on a heater in 2 or 3 weeks and he just happens to go on that hot streak, I don't feel like this is any kind of age poorly moment. I think you could make a very strong argument. It's not even like questionable. Sending him down for 2 to 3 weeks, not even close to the worst thing in the world for him. Probably what's best for him. But yeah, the 2 or 3 weeks of really elite defense. That's why we need to keep him up. It's ridiculous, man. Keep on going. Tanner Bibee looking like a Cy Young. Yeah, what else is new? I kind of did think he was going to be going all 9, man. I was kind of curious if they were going to throw him out there for a while. Yeah, there's a lot of hope as a strategy, G-Man. You and I have talked about this. I know as you've commented throughout the history of the show, we've talked about this a lot, brother. Like, you know, it's not a great strategy. You're just hoping that Evan Carter figures it out. There's really no evidence that he is going to figure it out, but we hope that he figures it out, right? And that's pretty consistently what you hear from a lot of different fans. There's no evidence. It's the defense, and that's it. Nobody points to. Have you noticed with Evan? It's not like you're hearing any analysis of why you can be hopeful that he's going to figure it out with the bat. I have heard zero logical analysis with Evan Carter. Here's why Evan is going to figure it out with the bat. Here's why Evan is going to turn it around offensively. I have heard zero dialogue about that because the answer is there's not a lot of evidence that points to that right now. Not a lot that points to that. Look, Dan, I'm glad you brought this up because I did want to address this too. I mean, look, we all understand with Wyatt Langford, what he was suffering from was an upper body injury, right? I mean, this was an upper body injury. This isn't Langford bad hammy. I mean, so look, the argument about, keeping him fresh out in center field. I mean, look, I really am a little bit old school. And so I know that not everybody's going to agree with me on this, which is fine. That's something that you guys know I embrace. I don't run away from. I think it is a little weak. It's a little weak to be babying Wyatt Langford. Oh, he can't play center. The dude is in his mid-20s. He's in the prime of his athletic career. Sorry, y'all know the drill. Fly out in the garage here, in the garage studio. My bad. Wyatt Langford's a mid-20-something, man. He is beyond capable of playing center field every day. I don't even understand the people that are incessantly, trying to baby Wyatt Langford in that regard. It's just not a logical argument for me. I mean, this guy is not 30. This is not Mike Trout. I mean, look, I'm glad I thought of Mike Trout on the fly here. If Mike Trout can play center field in his early 30s, I think Wyatt Langford can go ahead and play center field at 24, 25, whatever he is. I'm not really here for that argument. Don't want to wear Wyatt down. There were a ton of people, a ton of Rangers fans that wanted to see Wyatt Langford in center field when camp was going on in Surprise. Yeah, look, I don't think Dreiling is going to be forcing the hand. He is having a really good season. I don't think these two things correlate necessarily, Caden. But I do think if Evan does not figure it out at all offensively, eventually they're going to have to make a move. Like I think the defense is kind of the last thread that everybody's holding on to. One thing that I will say, I did not take any of the quotes from CY about Evan's defense as something long lasting. I saw them more as defensive quotes that are trying to help ease the anger of the Osuna demotion, because there are a lot of fans pissed off about Osuna getting demoted, myself included. I did not take CY's comments about Carter's defense, though, as something that's going to be a long lasting excuse. I think they're using it right now. If Evan continues to suck up at the plate, I really don't think that they are going to keep touting his defensive prowess for the next 2 months. I don't think so. Keep on going. This team needs a Ron Washington chewing out. Yeah, look, I think Wash, he definitely had a way of motivating and firing guys up. And it's just not the style of this team, man. It's just not. You've got too many guys from the 23, 24, 25 locker rooms. This is just not a rah-rah locker room, man. Nimmo, I know, brings some really positive vibes, but this has just never been an emotional locker room. It's never been that, super passionate. It's been like a very, hey, we all like playing with each other. We're all friends. We're all buddies. And, like, I'm sure there's a ton of guys that work their butts off day in and day out. I don't have any doubts about that. But it's never been that emotional locker room that I think a lot of fans like. I think we love that about the 2010, 2011 teams, right? Those were emotional teams. Not over emotional to the point where it affected their play, but those were teams in 2010 and 2011 that just they got fired up, man. You could tell they played with passion. They played with fire and energy. And I know that makes it sound like this team is just collecting a paycheck, and I really don't believe that. Honestly, y'all, I don't believe that. I believe there's a lot of passionate players on the team. But I think a lot of us connected better with it being so obvious and out there and in your face, which it was when you had the Kinsler, the Young, the Hambones, the Nelly Cruzes, all those guys. It was a different vibe. It just was. And so for me, I think when we lose, the clubhouse environment is a very low hanging fruit. It just is. Just the clubhouse and the vibes and the energy. It becomes the low-hanging fruit when you have really bad nights like tonight. Joe, absolutely. Beltre, I mean, look, I know Beltre, AB, has been taking some crap for the Wander Franco comments. You know what? I don't think, obviously, what he said about Franco is good. I don't want to get down a rabbit hole here either, by the way. But I will say, it's tough when a camera's in your face. I got to be careful, shoot, when I'm on here live with all y'all. It's tough. I catch myself, and sometimes I probably don't have the best way with words. So for me, look, I know there's some Rangers fans hacked off at Adrian Beltre for the Wander Franco comments. Personally, I think you got to forgive the guy. He's got a camera in his face. He's doing it on the fly here. It's not a rehearsed statement. It's just my 2 cents. I don't think it's a great quote by AB. Probably just needed to stay away from it, but it's tough when you got a camera and a microphone in your face. I'll say that. Carter isn't a proven vet. He hasn't proven any consistency. Yeah, Jackson, exactly. The people that are acting like demoting him is just preposterous. I mean, come on, get real now, baby. Get real. They sent Jake Berger down for a few weeks. They sent Josh Young down for a couple of weeks last year. I mean, sending down guys is not that big of a deal. It's really not. Not one of those locker rooms that's emotional, and that's big. Those teams from the 2 back-to-back World Series fired up, love being out there. Yeah, I mean, that was a special group. You're just not going to get teams like that where it's like very passionate, very energetic, and very, very good. Sometimes you have one, not the other. Corey Seager going to go down here, it looks like. Strike 3, and Rangers are 2 more outs down here. Keep going. Is Jansen a DFA possibility? I would say probably no. And didn't I think I kind of talked about this. Danny Jansen is one of the guys, that CY went out and got this offseason, right? I don't think that they are going to move on from that. I do not think that they are going to admit that they might have made a mistake with Danny by DFAing him. Kutch is a little bit different, right? Kutch was kind of a last-minute ad. Kutch was not a thoughtful, necessarily off-season decision. Kutch was kind of a, you know what, he's there. We don't really have anyone definitive that's really taking the bull by the horns. Let's go and get him. Is Josh Young, we going to get another double play here? Man, what are we doing? Weird play, but I think Josh Young now has the major league lead in grounding into double plays. I mean, having a great year, but I think JJ now has the major league lead for double plays. Serious comment here. I'm pretty sure that actually is accurate. Rough game. Rangers lose 6-0. They fall to 31-33. Rubber match incoming tomorrow with DeGrom on the mound. I think that's the positive that you take away from tonight. Look, the Rangers are one Corey Seager swing away from only scoring 1 run in this series so far. It's not good. One Corey Seager swing away from only scoring 1 run in this series. It's just not great, man. I hate that they come back home and they do this. They come back home and they just forget how to hit a baseball. Look, I know I'm being a little emotional in the aftermath of a loss, but it just bothers me how many times you've got to see this kind of game if you're a fan and you're paying and you're using your hard-earned money to go to these baseball games. Feels like this is like almost every home game. It's a low-scoring, Rangers may or may not decide to show up type game. Tough one, y'all. All right, DeGrom tomorrow, absolutely. We will talk DeGrom. We will go through the preview for that last 10 minutes of the show. We always try and do that. We are about 35 minutes in, so we got about 15 minutes here for Q&A. If you haven't been speaking up much, you got something that you want to share, please do so. You need to get something off your chest, I'm here for it. You got a question, something you want me to talk about, definitely throw it my way. You guys know I try to get to every single thing of substance. I got a few talking points myself. You guys know I can go on and on for just about forever, but I love to hear from you guys too. Let me know what you're thinking. We've got a couple of different angles that we can take for tonight's loss, but I don't think there's any bigger one than the offense, right? You've got 0 runs scored, very little excitement. I think that's the other thing too. Like you had a couple of first and second, but there was not a lot of traffic tonight. You had 3 hits, you had 2 walks, and you had 5 base runners all night. Like, just not an exciting game to go to. I'll say this. It hurts when the Rangers strand a ton of base runners, but at least, like, you have some exciting potential moments. Like, tonight, you have 5 base runners all game. It's just not an exciting game, man. Just brutal. Brutal. Over under 0.5 first inning bombs for DeGrom tomorrow. Let's see. Man, it's going to be tough because they're going to throw 3 lefties in a row at you, aren't they? They're going to throw JR at you. They're going to throw Bazana at you. It's tough, man. That's, like, I hate to be negative. I don't want to be. I'll take the under, just going with my heart, but my brain says you got 3 dudes at the top of that Guardians lineup that can hit for power. Bazana, Ramirez, the Louder. It's going to be tough. Cade, going to the game tomorrow. Offense has done at least decent in every game I've been to. Thank goodness. That's what I needed to hear. When Seager and Langford are in the lineup, the team no longer values the walker working the opposing pitcher's pitch count up, put some pressure on the opposing pitcher, and their defense so frustrating. Steve, appreciate you, man. Interesting observation here. Really is. I think you had this debate ongoing when Corey Seager and Wyatt Langford were inching back. The Rangers largely turned into a small ball team when Seager and Langford were out. They were working counts. They were walking. They were bunting. They were doing the little things. I mean, not always perfectly. Not always perfectly, but there was an emphasis on manufacturing. You might have a good point here. I don't know what the numbers say. I would love to do a deeper dive here, but it felt like tonight this was spot on. You had so many quick innings. Look, I think it helps when you have a guy like Osuna in the lineup who really does work a lot of counts. I don't think people appreciate how he would provide every time he got a chance to come up. It was very rare Osuna was 1 pitch, 1 out. It was very rare. Osuna, to me, is a guy that really helped you with this patience and pitch count problem. And right now, obviously, the Rangers made a business decision, I guess, with Evan Carter and the defense. So they say, not a fan. Not a fan. Rangers have scored in 1 of the last 19 innings. We were saying, one Corey Seager swing away from only scoring 1 run. The Rangers have scored once in the last 19 innings. I guess to be clear, they had the 2-run or the 3-run 3rd inning last time. Not going to be beating up Young. Only player to have a bounce back year. 3rd in batting average. Double plays is a bad ideal. At least he's putting the ball in play. Yeah, I mean, look, I bring that up because the facts are the facts, but I think by and large, my opinion on Young this year is positive. I think he is offensively one of the last guys you need to be pointing at. Defensively, I think he is leaving a lot out there, leaving a lot to be desired. But offensively, he has been phenomenal. And I think you'll take better offense and bad defense. And it is bad. He's one of the worst third basemen defensively in the league right now. Numbers back that up. But I think, as I was saying with Carter, you'll take the better bat and slightly worse defense, or even just worse defense, if he's going to produce up at the plate. Was at the game when we scored 18 and Adolis hit 3 bombs. Best game of my life. Cage, you got to bring those vibes next time. Of course, it really didn't make a difference. I mean, yeah, with 0 runs being scored, but sometimes Skip leaves pitchers out to dry too much. I mean, Leiter tonight, look, you could have pulled him a little bit sooner. He was at how many pitches when they pulled him? 92? You maybe could have pulled Lights a little bit sooner. I hate the offense excuse because of the stadium. Me too. We've talked about this. The Guardians scored 6 runs in this ballpark, man. It's not the stadium, it's the players. Todd, you'll be at the game tomorrow. Excellent. Marcus, what's good? What are my thoughts on Jack Leiter and his overall potential? Look, I have never felt that Jack Leiter is number 1 ace potential. I don't think that is what Jack is going to become at this point. If he proves me wrong, thank you. I will be happy to eat a massive plate of crow on Jack Leiter. I see Jack ceiling as solid number 2 starter. I mean, that is the ceiling I see for Jack. Solid number 2. So with that framework, has he reached solid number 2 starter status? No, he hasn't. He is not a solid number 2 starter right now. The dude's got an ERA close to 5. And although he has gotten better and improved a little bit each year, Yeah, he's not a solid number 2 starter. It's just not accurate. So I think that is the ceiling. I do not think that Jack Leiter is going to ever turn into Paul Skeens or a bona fide number 1, a Jacob deGrom, a Nathan Eovaldi. I don't think that Jack is going to become that. I hope I'm wrong. But I do think the ceiling for me is solid number 2. Solid number 2. Roy Oswalt, I mean, that's probably even a little bit higher than what I would rank for Jack Leiter. I do not see Jack surpassing Roy Oswalt's career. I think that his ceiling is below that. I hope he does become Roy Oswalt. I do hope he has a I hope he has a career like that. Roy Oswalt, I mean, look, God love him, Houston Astro, he was very, very good. I think that is probably a little bit of a higher ceiling than what I'm predicting for him, Ethan, but I hope to be wrong. I hope you're right. Leiter has excellent velocity, doesn't challenge hitters. Yeah, I mean, look, it's just the put away, right? He struggles to put hitters away. He really struggles. And so for me, I think you haven't seen the best of Jack Leiter yet. But unfortunately, the last 3 years of Jack being in the major leagues, you just have to continue to be patient, right? He gets a little bit better each year. I think that is hard to argue. But right now, he's not a pitcher that you can count on reliably from start to start. You don't know what you're getting. And I've always said that this entire year. I mean, look, the Leiter and Rocker back-to-back thing is so unpredictable. You don't really know what you're getting from those guys. I know Rocker has been really solid over his last 4 or 5 outings in terms of runs allowed, earned runs allowed. I just feel like it is a mixed bag with both those dudes. And throw Mackenzie Gore in the mix as well. You don't really know what you're getting out of a Mackenzie Gore start at this point either. That's why I said, like, only halfway jokingly, Cal Quantrill, starting pitcher, anybody? Dude's got a 2.19 ERA. Hello. Tony, yeah, Osuna in AAA, not my favorite move. One of my least favorite moves that the Rangers have ever made. Let's look at Osuna and what he's up to in AAA. We'll get that to you in just a second. This is pretty good. Kumar Rocker, Michael Pineda. Yeah, I would say that's actually a fairly good comp for me. A guy that had a lot of hype. A Yankees pitcher, right? A lot of hype. But, I mean, look, never really became like the top of the line, just consistently nasty starter. But I actually like that. What's scary is Leiter and Rocker aren't aces. DeGrom is also not the pitcher he once was. Same goes with Nasty Nate. None of our pitchers are true aces. They'll have moments of greatness but can't sustain it. I do feel like DeGrom and Evo are going to be okay. I don't feel like they're obviously like prime version. I do feel like Evo and DeGrom are still really, really good pitchers. Not maybe in the top tier, but maybe in the tier right below the top. I would put them in that. I really would. Everybody else is a total crapshoot. You don't know if you're rolling a 7. You don't know if you're rolling a 6 or an 8. You really don't. You have a total fingers crossed mentality every time Gore, Rocker, or Leiter take the bump. Like I said, I mean, my gut feeling, and some people I know are going to say, like, I'm just being a hater, but when Rocker takes the mound, I know that it's been pretty solid over the last 5. I haven't felt secure with a whole lot of Rock starts. I feel like they've teetered on the edge a couple different times. Very inefficient with the pitch counts. I know a couple people were telling me, 5 innings, 2 earned runs. And even I said that. Look, I mean, I guess you'll take that from a number 4 starter, but still, I don't feel rock solid, no pun intended, with Leiter or with Rocker out there. I think Gore, again, goes in that mix as well. Gore, far from being an ace material. Don't know what you're going to get from him. Yep, exactly. Nobody in the rotation gives me confidence DeGrom and Evo this year could get lit up at any point. It's sad but true. It does feel like, you're going to get a really good Evo start. You're going to get a really good DeGrom start. Maybe you'll even get 2 in a row. But then, that third start, maybe you get a home run spree like DeGrom in Houston. It's tough. We've got a bunch of pitchers that just are not completely settled in right now. Gary, what's good, man? Good to see you as always, brother. Gore and Leiter always feel like they have to strike everyone out. Yeah, I've made this comment a lot. It's like you don't have to paint every single pitch. It's beautiful. Painting is beautiful. Love it. I mean, look, it is definitely something you need to be able to have in your repertoire every once in a while, but you don't have to paint every single pitch, man. Sometimes you mix up speeds, you mix up eye levels, and you don't have to go, like you're playing MLB The Show, bottom right corner, top left. You don't have to go corner to corner, man. Like it's great, but you don't have to be that fine. You don't. You can mix things up well with your speeds, with your eye levels, and that can be just as effective. Feel like the front office just chooses more known names. Yeah, we did talk about, I think there is a little bit of favoritism going on. I don't think that everyone is judged evenly. And look, in sports that happens. You get your favorites and they have different standards than everybody else. For a team that's struggling this much offensively, like the Osuna move will never make sense to me. I don't want to keep going on and on about it. It will never make sense to me. Our pitchers will keep us in the game, but if this offense can't hit or score runs, it doesn't matter. Well said. Steve says, do we know the reason why Maddox is not the pitching coach? I think new regime, who knows what the relationship was like with Skip. I just think, him and Boch, that was a tandem, right? I just maybe feel like it was kind of one of those, it's my time to go. I don't know if there was a whole lot of drama behind it. Offense is awful. Do we have a hitting coach? If so, I want that job. I could do as good as him, and I know nothing about it. I mean, yeah, look, Justin Veely, not a lot of people are going to be shedding tears when Justin Veely leaves town. They're not. I don't think Veely is the main problem. I don't think if Veely gets fired tomorrow that it's going to make a huge difference with this offense. I've maintained the biggest problem with this offense is pedigree, right? It's talent. You don't have enough talent on this offense. I know that, that hurts some people's feelings, but you need more talent on this offense. I think we've seen enough over the last 2 or 3 years to be able to say that confidently. Nate, I know. That's what I do. When I'm playing MLB The Show, I'm going corner to corner. I mean, I'm mixing the eye levels, but I'm trying to paint just about every time in MLB The Show. Man, I mean, look, in real life, you don't have to do that quite as much. You really don't. It's not a video game. Mix the eye level up. Mix up the speed. It's going to go a long way. Leiter picked a good day for a bad start. We would have lost regardless today. I don't know about that, Ethan, but I am glad that tomorrow we have DeGrom going. And you've got an opportunity. You do have a lefty going tomorrow. So there's that. Rangers have not been great against left-handed starting pitching. We'll see how it goes. Yeah, I don't feel like it's a coach problem. I don't think that the coach is really helping a lot, but I don't think that the coach is hurting to the point where you can reasonably blame Justin Veely for the issues. I think right now we are at a talent deficit, not some amazing, coaching tips, advice that's just not getting imparted to the players. Why are hitters so consistent, swinging for the fences? Yeah, I think we've got some players that are undisciplined up at the plate. We do have a number of free swingers. There are some guys that really do work counts, but yeah, I think that right now, I'll just go back to, I think that there's just a need for some better offense, some better offensive players. I don't think that it really is like, hey, if you just make one little adjustment, with Jake Berger, he's going to turn into Pete Alonso. I just don't think that's going to happen. I think Berger is what he is. Look, clearly he was really hitting for power a lot better when he was with Miami and Chicago. And you wonder if maybe he could find a way to get back to that mode. I don't know. But a part of me just kind of thinks some of these guys, they're showing you who they are. It is what it is. Don't feel happy about DeGrom starting, only going to give you 5 innings. Well, mean, that's what we've gotten from Rocker and Leiter. Man, I think I told you guys about this, last night. I posted on really all my socials, like, Kumar Rocker, 4 innings, 80 pitches. And then I said to follow that up, thank goodness there's an off day on Monday. Right? Because you think about Leiter, you think about DeGrom, those guys are not necessarily guys that are going to give you 7 or 8 innings. And like, one dude was like so offended. I'm like, these guys just unfortunately are really taxing the bullpen right now. And it is great that we have an off day on Monday because the bullpen's going to need it. Right? You might not get but 5 or maybe 6 innings from DeGrom tomorrow. And so the bullpen is going to be, once again, has to get a lot of outs. Monday off day is a good thing. Yeah, the pitcher more than anything. Like, Bibee hadn't won a game this year. Dude was not pitching well. For me, yeah, I think it is a little bit embarrassing. When we try to slug, it's just like NBA teams chucking up threes. Yeah, I'll say this. The Rangers, they do not have a ton of guys that are going to consistently be 30, 35 homers. They've got a couple, man. Maybe I think Wyatt Langford can be a 30 guy. I think Berger could be. I think Seager obviously is one. Some of these guys, like, Josh Jung, for example. I think JJ, if he can get to 25 homers, excellent. And I think JJ is going to get to that 25 by just hitting the line drives that become home runs. The Rangers need to keep things simple, man. They were winning playing this small ball brand, right? Working counts, getting on base any way possible. I think Steve from Twitter, he made a really good point. Like, it is, I think, a bit of a different philosophy and approach with this lineup when you get Seager and Langford back. Those guys are up there hacking, man. Wyatt, he was up there hacking today. Seager always is. Wyatt had a couple of pop-ups. It is what it is. I keep saying that tonight. I know I sound like a broken record, but I think that the Rangers have to find a way. You've got to find a way to blend the two together. You've got Corey Seager. You've got Wyatt Langford. Obviously, they give you some good thump. You still have to be able to play the other way. I think that they're still mastering finding that balance. Osuna ball. There you go. I like that. When you don't have a win all season, you are praying you get a start against Texas. I don't think that is untruthful. I don't think that is untruthful at all. Feels like a must-win tomorrow. I mean, look, I don't want to say must-win tomorrow, but look, you'd love to win your 3rd series in a row. There's really no reason not to. You would love to win your 3rd series in a row. I hope they do it. I really do. All right, let's preview the game for tomorrow. By the way, I'm just thinking about this. Jack Leiter had great numbers against the Guardians, man, coming into this game. Great numbers. We were talking about it. They were phenomenal. And you just have the exact opposite happen, right? I mean, he had so many zeros against, José Ramírez. I don't think José Ramírez had a hit off the guy. Crazy. All right, tomorrow. Let's go to it now. DeGrom, we know, is going to be throwing for Texas, and it's Cantillo for the Guardians. 4.92 ERA, or 3.92, excuse me, for Cantillo. His last 3 games, Joey Cantillo against the Yankees, 4 innings, 4 earned runs. Against the Nationals, 2 innings, 4 earned runs. So look, Cantillo is coming off of 2 pretty bad games. I mean, I hope what we didn't just say ends up coming true here, man. You're running into the Rangers to get right. I hope not. But he against Texas. Let's check out the individual matchups. Berger 0 for 2, Duran 0 for 2, Diaz 0 for 3. I wonder if we'll see Diaz tomorrow. Higgy's kind of been catching multiple days in a row. I have a good feeling Diaz probably makes his Rangers debut tomorrow from behind the dish. Hellman 1 for 3, Higgy 0 for 2. Josh Young, 1 for 2. Probably you'll see the mailman tomorrow with the lefty. I'm sure Carter is going to sit, so we'll probably see Mike Hellman out in center field, bunting every single time up at the plate. Am I right? I mean, look, we'll see how this lefty lineup fares. Nicky Lopez, man, he's not seen a lot of action at this point, but understand with Seager back, with Duran hitting the way he's hitting, you're probably not going to see a lot of Nicky Lopez. It's definitely going to get much harder to find opportunities now that you've got everybody back healthy. All right, on the other side, DeGrom has faced 2 batters on the Guardians in his career. Austin Hedges, who is 0 for 9. Hedgie, 0 for 9 against DeGrom in his career. And then Hoskins, 208 average, 24 ABs. So look, a pretty healthy size there, a pretty healthy sample size. Nobody else, though, has an AB against DeGrom. That can go good, that can go bad, depending on the ball club. We'll see what DeGrom has in store. I mean, look, I said it when Leiter made it out of the first inning unscathed. If DeGrom can make it out of the first inning, it really does feel like it's going to be a good start for him. It doesn't always work out. You look at what happened with Leiter tonight, but you really do feel like if DeGrom can just make it out of that first inning, it is a much different game. Tomorrow, by the way, 1:35 start time. I think we'll be live, same time, maybe 8th inning, maybe 9th inning, something like that. We'll see what happens. But definitely we'll do post-game show at the very least. But I'm hopeful tomorrow to go live during the 8th, during the 9th. Appreciate all you guys hanging out. Really means a lot. I know it's not the ideal game that we want to be talking about. But you know what? Rangers have been on a good run of late. I think they've won 6 of their last 8. I hate how it never feels like that. It never feels like we've won 6 of our last 8. It always feels like the opposite for whatever reason. I've noticed that. But the Rangers have won 6 out of their last 8 games. I mean, there's your positivity for the end here. Definitely. I want to try and go as glass half full as I possibly can without being disingenuous. All right, y'all. Julian, appreciate you. Yeah, look, Tanner Bibee, definitely not the guy that you're expecting to get shut out against. Rangers fans, we know how it goes, though, sometimes. Yeah. Ethan, I think you might be onto something there. I really do. We need Osuna and Lopez back. Yeah, no complaints there, especially with Osuna. Would love that. Who would have ever thought Nimmo and Peterson would have the same stats? That is interesting. That really is. Let's see. We have Nimmo right now at, what is he at, man? I just was looking at the OPS for him. I'll check it out. I mean, look, Nimmo's probably doing worse than Peterson at this point. It's probably worse. All right, here we got the box score. Peterson, 809 OPS. Brandon Nimmo, 722 OPS. Peterson's got Nimmo by almost 100 points with the OPS, man. Averages, Nimmo's got him by 0.03 of a point, but yeah. Nimmo, I mean, look, it has not been good over the last month. I really hope Nimmo gets things going. If he does get it going, I think Rangers are going to be much, much better for it. Almost feels like you had to sacrifice Nimmo's production for Jock to get hot, moving Nimmo out of that leadoff spot. At this point, I don't really know what you'll take. All right, y'all. Hope you have a good rest of your Saturday night. We'll see you tomorrow. I'll have a video out for you early tomorrow morning. Hope you enjoy it. Like it, comment, share it with somebody. Much appreciated. And as I always say to end every show, God bless and go Rangers.